April 20th poll drops. Shocking shift reveals stunning losses and who's really winning where. Canada's political battleground is shifting fast, and the latest April 20th numbers have exposed some serious upsets across the country. With the election atmosphere heating up, the regional picture is anything but uniform, and the surprises are everywhere. The Liberals, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, continue to lead nationally, but the Conservative Party is fiercely competitive in key strongholds. Meanwhile, the NDP, Bloc Québécois, Greens, and PPC all face uphill battles to stay relevant in a tightening race. Let's break down the picture that's emerging. British Columbia is turning into one of the most unpredictable provinces this cycle. The Liberals hold a narrow lead, but it's hardly a comfortable one. Voters are deeply split between two visions, one shaped by the Liberals' climate priorities and social spending, and the other by conservative promises of affordability and law and order. The NDP, once a dominant force in BC, has slipped into third place, with the Greens and PPC barely holding on. This is a classic two-way sprint with no guarantee of a finish line favoring the incumbents. Over in Alberta, it's no contest. The Conservative base is solid. The CPC continues to dominate the Prairies, with numbers north of 60%. It's not just a lead, it's a political monopoly. For the Liberals, this region remains a deep challenge. Their message on emissions caps and energy transition hasn't resonated here. The NDP is present, but a shadow of its former influence, and minor parties barely register. Alberta remains a firewall for Conservatives, but it also underscores their challenge. To win big nationally, they must expand beyond the provinces where they're already kings. The story gets more interesting in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The Conservatives lead overall, but the Liberals are surprisingly competitive, particularly in urban ridings like Winnipeg and Regina. It's a sign that Carney's team has found messaging that resonates with some prairie voters, perhaps a mix of economic pragmatism and infrastructure investment. The NDP is still in the game, but far from dominant, and the smaller parties are stuck in the low single digits. While still leaning blue, this region is more competitive than many expected. Now, Ontario, the motherlode of federal seats. And it's here that the Liberals are flexing their muscles. With nearly 49% support in recent polling, the party has a strong hold, especially in the Greater Toronto Area, where affordability measures and housing pledges seem to be hitting home. The Conservatives aren't out of it. They hold nearly 39% and are still a threat, particularly in rural Ontario and the suburbs. But the NDP's sharp decline, now in single digits, is reshaping vote dynamics. Progressive voters appear to be consolidating under the Liberals in a strategic push to keep the Conservatives at bay. The PPC and Greens remain distant players, but they could still play spoiler in tightly contested ridings. Quebec adds another layer of complexity. The Liberals are on top again, with over 41% support, but the Bloc Québécois remains a wild card. While not leading, the Bloc's base remains solid in many rural and francophone areas. Interestingly, the Conservatives are almost neck and neck with the Bloc, which could split the anti-Liberal vote and hand more seats to Carney's team. The NDP and Greens have very limited traction here, and the PPC surprisingly edges out the Greens, a reminder that Quebec's political currents don't always follow national trends. And then there's Atlantic Canada. The Liberals are sweeping the region, with over 55% support, an electoral landslide by any standard. Carney's team is clearly resonating with voters here, likely due to regional investments, healthcare messaging, and long-standing party loyalty. The Conservatives trail significantly, and while their numbers are respectable, they're not enough to flip many seats. The NDP is faded, and the Greens and PPC aren't factors. If this momentum holds, the Atlantic coast will deliver a critical block of seats to the Liberals. Taking a step back, the numbers tell a powerful story. The Liberals are dominating in key population centers, Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada, which are crucial to forming government. The Conservatives are strong in Alberta and the Prairies, but they face tough odds breaking into the Liberal heartland. The NDP is clinging on but losing relevance, and the Bloc Québécois may hold sway in a few dozen Quebec ridings. The Greens and PPC continue to generate attention in niche circles but haven't broken through electorally. What's driving these shifts? For the Liberals, it appears Carney's message of economic stability, climate action, and institutional renewal is landing well with many Canadians, particularly in urban regions and among younger voters concerned about affordability. The Conservatives are gaining traction with a promise to get tough on crime, slash bureaucracy, and fight inflation, but they face persistent barriers in winning over major urban and suburban regions. The NDP is struggling to differentiate itself. Its platform overlaps with Liberal policies in many areas, making it hard to carve out a distinct identity. And for voters who feel disillusioned or want something radically different, neither the PPC nor the Greens have offered a breakout moment. Of course, these are just polls, not predictions. Momentum can shift overnight. Campaign missteps, unexpected events, or viral moments can turn a race upside down. But with current trends, the Liberals appear to be in the driver's seat, poised to hold power, if they can maintain their coalition and keep the Conservatives locked out of central Canada. For the Conservatives, the challenge is clear. They must bridge the urban-rural divide and expand their base. That means making inroads in Ontario and Quebec, especially among swing voters worried about pocketbook issues. For the Liberals, the goal is to hold steady and prevent votes splitting with the NDP or Greens. And for the smaller parties, the question is survival, whether they can remain relevant in a deeply polarized race. Canadians are watching closely. With such diverse regional dynamics, no single narrative fits the entire country. The West wants resource development and fiscal restraint. Central Canada is focused on housing, transit, and healthcare. Quebec is, as always, charting its own course. Atlantic Canada is leaning hard Liberal, but not guaranteed to stay that way forever. This election cycle is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable in years, not because the overall trend is chaotic, but because the path to victory is full of tight margins, shifting alliances, and razor-thin battlegrounds. It's a political chess game played on a national scale, where every riding could count, and no one can afford to blink. One thing's certain, voters aren't sleepwalking into this one. The choices are clear, the stakes are high, and the polls are keeping us all guessing. As the saying goes, campaigns matter, and with numbers like these, the real battle has only just begun.